Good morning, everyone. It's Kate Richburg, and I am live for Free Tip Friday. It's great to see all of you guys. As you jump on, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I can see you on all my social media platforms, and then we will get to making. Um, we made it to Friday, everybody. Oh, I see people jumping on already. Great. Good morning. It's great to have everybody here. Let me just make sure I can see all of you all. So if you're over on our Facebook feed, you guys, give me a big shout out over there so I can make sure that I can see the live broadcast before I get started. And then we are going to Tree of Life it up for today's project on Free Tip Friday. Great, I can see you guys here, I believe. And I am coming at you in 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. There we are, everybody. Good morning, or afternoon, or evening, wherever it is you are watching us all across this great world. It's wonderful to have you all here. I'm going to kind of move this camera in just a little bit here as I fix that. There we go. Perfect. Okay. As you guys may or may not know, the monthly mix for March is this one called Sakura Skies, and that is Sakura, I guess is really, I need to pronounce it correctly for you guys. But I Americanize it to Sakura because of the U. But it's great to have everybody here, and we're going to play with that mix. We're going to work with some wire, all of my favorite things. I want to make sure that I can see all of you guys here on the YouTube, and I think I can. Great. Okay. Well, let me jump in by saying I'm going to go back to this slider for just a second. We have, I don't know if you guys know this, right? There's a month for everything, right? Well, March is very special to us in the crafting world because it is National Craft Month. Can you believe it? I think it was self-named by the National Craft Association of America, and we are celebrating all month long. So make sure, if you haven't signed up for the newsletter, I'm going to give another plug. This is the time to do it because we are doing so much fun stuff for National Craft Month this month, okay? And so right now we've got our special going on for March 2020, Craft 10, Craft 15, and Craft 20. If you enter those discount codes into our website right there at beadshop.com, you will save 10%, 15%, or 20% off on your orders depending how much. Also over on our website at beadshop.com, and everything I'm going to be using today, including our monthly mix for March, is available over on Beadshop. I also wanted to mention a big thank you to all of you all for your support, your shares, your likes, your comments on this video. The more interaction we get on our social media, the more traction all of our videos receive. So we could not do it without you supporting this small business. So thank you very, very much from the bottom of our hearts. Janice is over on our YouTube feed moderating there, and I believe our Gita is over, yes, she is, over on our Facebook feed. So thank you again to both of you as well for that. So, all right. Well, let's jump in, shall we? I'm going to show you over here to my left. You can see some of the stuff that I've got going on today that I'm going to be working on, or working with. So I've got the Sakura Skies mix. You can see it's right here. And over on our blog is called The Bead Table, also kind of like our Facebook group, same thing. But you can find the blog link over on our website, or you can just go to a quick internet search and put in Bead Shop blog, the bead table. It will also come up. And so you'll see Drea has already listed the ingredients, but I'm going to pop over here and just show you what I'm going to be using. So the Sakura Skies is the March 2020 monthly mix, is what I'm going to be basing this around. And Jordan, this was Jordan's mix that she created, which was pretty awesome. It was kind of a fun springtime mix, and springtime certainly means cherry blossoms, right, in many parts of the world. And so that's what her inspiration behind this was. So it's kind of a fun cherry blossom pink, as well as Jordan threw in some bugles, some bugle beads, which I just love. And that kind of is what inspired me to do some bugles for this piece. So we'll see how it turns out. I think it's going to be fun. I'm using Parawire in Bare Copper 26 gauge. I'm using the round hoops as the armature, but I'm going to show you some other things with that too. The smooth sailing chain is what I'm going to dangle it from. Heartleaf in the pink and the white, a chrysoprase briolette, a small swivel antique copper clasp, and some head pins. That's everything I've got. Okay, right over here to my left, right here in front of me. Well, it's great. I see everybody jumping on. Great. It's great to have everybody here. Thank you so much. And I see my dad's watching with my mom. There's my pup and their little dog. So hi everybody there as well. It's great to have everybody here. So let me, I want to share with you this piece first. I'm going to bring it here kind of to the center. Let me see if I can, I'm going to grab a pad here. You guys can continue to look at those pretty beads, and I'm going to grab this guy here. There we go. Let's take a look at this sample. You guys may have remembered this sample from a while back. This is the lantern pendant that was designed by our dear friend and Beadshop design team member Danielle Wicks. Well, Danielle made this kind of cool project that was a really fun one to create with, and it was the lantern pendant, and I think I did it on a free tip Friday a while back, right when these parasol caps came in. I'm going to free it up from this chain here, from this clasp real quick. The parasol caps, you can see, are right here on the edges of this. We have these guys back in stock. They were kind of thin on the ground for a while, but they are back and ready for you guys. So we have them in all the colors that are ready to go. And these are really, I think, a fun, fast and fun bead to make. And you could, if we were mixing this, this is the old Tree of Life that I made a while back. If we were mixing this idea, we could do some of these lantern pendants in the Sakura Skies, right? And we could link them to the piece that I'm going to be doing. This is the one that I did, like I say, a while back. But you could make them a little shorter like this and incorporate them into the chain. It would be pretty cool, I think. I also think that the way that I hung this piece, this chain is our, I'm gonna have, Janice, you're gonna have to tell me what this one is. I'm sorry, it just, wrapped link, that's what it is. I knew if I talked about it long enough, it would come to me. But this is our wrapped link chain in antique copper. And I like to put the jumbo swivel on the end of this. And this wrapped link chain opens and closes like jump rings. So it's really easy to add a clasp. So what I was going to do today with the piece I make, the Tree of Life that I make, I'm going to attach it to the smooth sailing chain, and I'm going to use the swivel, the small swivel, or you could use the large swivel, whatever. But we also have this jumbo swivel clasp, which I like a lot. And especially if you like wearing your clasp in front, which I do when I like to layer pieces, then your pieces, you can kind of stack them up and just put them on. So you could put one pendant like that. You could add two pendants, and I just use the rings from the wrapped link chain to do that. And then if I put a link on this one here, right, might be a little bit big for what we've got going on, but you get the idea. So you can jump in and out and stack your pendants however you want to do them. Okay. So, and as I said, the list here, and a big thank you to Drea for creating this list for me this morning. Again, I always get those ideas in the shower, and Drea knew that I was making a pendant today, but we didn't quite have all of the pieces worked out. So thanks, Drea, for doing that, and thanks for posting it over on the blog, which was great. So thanks again. So, but use your imagination and figure it out what it is you like to add. This is a perfect springboard, I guess, or jumping off point for you to just be creative with however you want to wear your pieces. A lot of times we make like small things. I'm going to throw my earring down here as a sample. This is Emily's lantern earring that she made a while back, and you can see that over on under earrings on beadshop.com. The instructions, she has some great instructions for this one. But this is also, if you don't wear earrings, this would also be a cool thing to hang from a pendant. Obviously, you'd need to incorporate a jump ring into that, but you could also do something like that with your singles. As you know, sometimes I only make one of the earrings because either A, I don't have time, or B, I just move on. So it's perfect to be able to just jump in and put it on as a pendant. You can do that. But I love these, and they kind of match what I'm wearing today. So I'm going to put it back on my ear. I love it. And we do, Janice just put in the Facebook chat the swivel clasp. We will have more swivel clasps, so hang tight. I actually think that the shipment actually just came in. So stay tuned. Even later today, we'll have some more of those in. So hang tight with that. So let's take a look at how you actually make this piece. Now, the Tree of Life was a project, and I'm going to click over to Beadshop, to our website. And if you go under projects and you go under, I think, everything else, yes, you'll click in the second position. It says Tree of Life. There's a recipe for the Tree of Life, and then what we called Moon Magic, which was this one. There's a really great episode notes that Drea wrote about this, and it'll show you kind of the 411 on how this goes together. But it's pretty simple, and there's a lot of examples out on the internet about people's interpretation of this pattern. Just the essentials. I'm going to share some of the basics around doing this, and then I really want you to kind of go to town and kind of create your own piece, because it's really fun. If you also look in our Facebook group, our Facebook is also called the Bead Table, like our blog. If you're a member of the Bead Table, if you put like Tree of Life in the search bar, a bunch will come up. Or if you just kind of scroll through all of the photos, this was having a moment for sure, and people were posting all the ones that they've made. So there's a bunch of cool ones there. Janice also posted over in the the YouTube chat, the original handout that we did on Tree of Life, because this was a class that we did back in our brick and mortar days at the bead shop when we were a store and not just online. So basically, when you're looking at making this pendant, let me see if I can find a pointer. There's the awl, the good old awl. There we go. Let me get a little tighter in here. There we go. Nope, a little too tight maybe. There we go. Okay, so the Tree of Life that I did previously, this one that was called Moon, what did I call it? Moon something? It was called, now I can't remember. Isn't that terrible? Moon Magic, that's what it was called, Moon Magic. I used for the base around the edge, I used 16 gauge, and I think I used the rose gold for this. And then I used 26 gauge to make the tree portion. So as you start designing this piece, you want to think about a few factors. You want to think about the size of the base that you're making. And I'm going to get my little pad out here so I can draw a little bit for you. There we go. And I'm by no means a fantastic drawer, so, you know, don't worry. This doesn't have to be a masterful work of art. Okay, so let me just get a piece of paper here so it's not too distracting. And I'm going to use, I thought today for time, so we wouldn't be here all day, though I'd love to stay here all day with you guys. I would jump in, whoops, I wanted to move that over. I would jump in and take a look at the armature that you're going to make. I used our round hoop that is already fabricated. We have them in the antique silver, gold, and copper, and so I just thought I'd use the antique copper. Now the size of this guy is, it's big-ish, big enough. It's about almost an inch and a half, a little more than an inch and a quarter long, and probably about the same inch and a half wide. And so this is going to be the base for my tree. Okay, and so when you make your armature, and this one that I did here, this one is a rectangle, you can see, about 1 3/4 inches by probably about 1 1.5 inches, 1 1/4 inches maybe, or so, about there. So you could also use, we have those really cool hoops, nun design hoops that are just a hoop rather than having the link on the top. So you could certainly, you know, use something that's prefabricated. But something like this, you want to think about, you know, maybe the shape of your tree. So maybe if I want something that kind of has branches that's coming here, maybe like this, and maybe I want this to be a little further over, that kind of comes around the side here, and maybe, just maybe, since I have this briolette here, and the briolette may overpower it. As you can tell, I have not made the sample yet. I'm going to do it live on air. Maybe I can make a place for that brio to fit, or maybe even better, I'm going to trace this so I've got that circle. I could use this leaf. So here are some of my branches that are coming off, right? Here, here, and then here's kind of maybe my tree comes around the side like this, and it's going to kind of wrap like this. So it kind of has a crescent shape to it, I guess. Okay? And so then maybe I can hang that leaf or something in there, kind of. We'll see what happens. Okay? So, so that's kind of how I start to kind of think about this. And I really like these leaves because they kind of have a tree feeling. And then I'll put the rest of these, maybe, I don't know, dangle them around or something, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So to begin, I'm going to count the number of wires that I'm going to need for the actual tree portion of this, right? So let me show you with this older one that I did. I started with how many wires? 2, 4, let me turn it over, it might be easier for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I used 6 wires across, and I doubled them. Okay, so if I had 6 wires, I should have 12 branches up here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So here's 14. So I must have had 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, I must have had 7 wires, and I'm just not seeing it. But however you do it, the wraps that you have around here, it's going to have double that when you do the branches. And you don't have to use them all as branches. You can kind of twist them in and reduce them if you wanted to do that as well. Okay, so let me just start. I don't know, this may all end in tears, you never know. I'm going to use 26 gauge for this, and I'm going to use bare copper wire. The bare copper will slowly patina, as you can see mine has done, because it's sitting here in the Facebook room with all of my different supplies. So it's easily polished with the Pro Polish pad, or you can just kind of leave it as is. Okay, so as far as length goes on this wire, I think I'm going to cut 6 wires, and I'm going to see how that looks. Might be a little heavy. Maybe I'll cut 5 wires, and let's see how that looks. 5 lengths, because this is a little bit of a smaller piece. Okay, so, and you can use any colors you want, right? I chose copper because I dig copper, but you do you figure out what you like. I'm going to cut a foot because I don't really know what I'm going to do. So a foot of wire should do it. And so I'm going to cut 5 of these. Okay. I'm going to widen things up just a little bit so you guys can see that. So there's 1. Here's 2. And I'm just using my Xuron cutters here to cut this 26 gauge. There's 3. And sometimes making one of these a little bit smaller, it can be a little daunting, you know. I think my biggest tips for this are try and maybe work with a smaller one with smaller, with fewer, what do I want to say, fewer strands of wire. Right? So I've got the 12 inches of wire here, and give or take, you know, it just depends on how big your piece is, but you might want to have a little bit more, 18 inches if it's bigger, you know, less, fewer if you're making it smaller. So I'm going to grab one of these, okay, and I'm just going to come in, and I want, when I make my tree, I'm going to kind of have it kind of crescent over to the side here. But I think that the roots in the bottom of the tree can kind of start over here maybe. So I'm going to put 1 on. So see how I've just wrapped it around to anchor it all? I'm going to wrap it one more time. And a good basic tool for this, because your wire does start to get kind of mangled a little bit, is you can use your nylon jaw plier to kind of straighten it. So now I've got 1, okay, and that looks about right. If I bring it back over here to my pattern, that's about where my tree is starting. Okay, so I'm gonna attach maybe another one like right here, and then maybe I'll start twisting those together, and then I'll continue to add and twist till they're all on, and then I'm going to make the trunk part. Okay, so there's 1 on, so I'm going to add my second one. And if you want them to be a little more, have a little more space in between, right, like this, you can add a couple of more wraps, but I've made 1 wrap, I think 2 wraps here. So I'm gonna, when I put this wire on, you'll see that when I do this, I kind of find the center-ish, doesn't have to be exact. I'll go through with 1 leg like this, and then I'll go through the other leg, go around with the other leg like that. And if I wanted a little more space to it, I would go around twice. And I'll show you, I'll get a little tighter with this so you can see what it looks like. So see that there? How they're just kind of there, wrapped around. And if I want them to be a little tighter together, which I do, I'm going to push them together, and I can push them together with my fingers, or I can use my bent chain nose plier. Okay. 26 gauge is really malleable here, right? So you don't have to worry about, you know, fatiguing your hands or anything. So these are on, and I'm just going to start to twist. I'm going to grab these two, the original two that I put on, and I'm just going to come in and see, grab the wires and twist them. Sometimes what I also do, you don't want to twist too vigorously though, you guys, right? Because you don't want to work hard on these wires so much that the metal is fatigued and then it breaks off. Okay, so I'm gonna move this out of the way so I can twist it a little bit better. But see how I can give it just a nice little twist there. And I'm going to do the same thing with these, and kind of try and hold your picture in your mind, right? It's going to vary a little bit. I'm going to try and twist this going the same direction. So when if I hold it stable, I can move the centerpiece, the hoop. There we go. Now I'll bring these two together. You don't want them to be too tight because you want to be able to move them a little bit to where you want them to be. Then I'm going to twist these two together. I hope you can see that. Okay, so here is kind of the start of my little roots at the bottom of a tree, right? So now, I don't know what's going to happen. Let's add two more and see what happens. Okay, so let me do that. I'm going to put that one on, and I'm going to go this one around. And this hoop is kind of a thinner gauge, so it's kind of nice, easy to work with. I'm going to wrap that around, and I'm just going to immediately kind of twist these two together because I want these roots to be kind of compact, right? I don't want them to be too wide. So I'm just going to give this a little bit of twist, and I can see, okay, that's, there we go, it goes this way. There we go. So I want to fill in here with another one, another root. I'm going to put that down right there. Grab my other, I've got two pieces left. So I'm going to take this one, wrap it around once and twice. I'm going to straighten that out with my wire straightener. You're the boss of this wire. Bring it in. Again, I want it to be kind of tight, so I'm not going to wrap it multiple times. I've just done it that once for this one. And I'm just going to grab it and twist it. And not too tall yet. Okay, just a few twists. Maybe that's like 4, I don't know. And then I've got these two. So maybe I'll put these two together like I did the first two. It feels like it wants a little bit of filling in. So I'm going to isolate these, grab these, and twist them in together. Again, not too tight because you want to be able to move this wire. So that's that. That's that. And then I'll show you how this looks, what this looks like. So bear with me here in just a second. There we go. Can you see how that's starting to kind of look like roots that are attached? So now I'll get my last piece of wire. And I can decide if I want another, but this is 5. And I think this should fill in pretty nicely. I want this to have a little more space in between. So I'm going to give it a little bit more, maybe one more round. Whoops, if you kind of don't get them in the right place, just get your chain nose plier, your bent chain, move them around. There we go. So now I'm going to twist these two together. Again, not very high. There we go. I've got these two. Now, if I need to kind of start filling in, see how I kind of want to bring things together a little bit? I'm going to take like 2 from this middle one and maybe 1 from the last one I put on, and I'm going to twist those 2 together. And then I'm going to do the same thing here with that other one that's coming from that last one, those 3. And I'm gonna try that. Okay. And now I'm gonna twist all of these together. Maybe I'll pull that in and twist these, because I want to build kind of a trunk that's kind of substantial, but I want a twisted look to it too. So I'm going to bring all these wires in. And then here's my last one from way over here. And I'll bring that across and maybe twist these 2 together a little bit. So see what I've got, how I've kind of brought those 3 up into 2. And then I could just twist all of those together. Okay? And so now I want to come in and I want to kind of look and see how this is looking. Okay, so it's not too bad. It's kind of looking kind of like my vision, I think, a little bit. Not too bad. Let me get in a little bit tighter. And let me see where I want to go from this. Janice is asking, have I ever used mixed metals or to color the light and dark of your tree? Sure, you could certainly do that. You could use the antique copper and the bright copper, would look pretty cool. Yeah, design however it works for you. But I think that would be fun. So I want this to have kind of a vague, kind of, I don't know, gnarled tree look to it. So I'm going to kind of bring this one around the side, okay? And since I want kind of that crescent shape to this, I'm going to bring some of these on this end kind of around up here to kind of hold everything to the side. Okay, let me get those out of the way. And so I've got 10 legs here, right? That's clear because I used 5 long pieces of wire and found the center of them. Right? Does that make sense? I could even, now if I wanted to start here, see how I've got some bare strands of wire here? This might be the time to put 1 or 2 beads on. Okay, so let's take some beads, and I especially thought of this project because of these cool bugles that are in here, and it feels like this piece right here wants a bugle bead. So let me see. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so there's that bugle. Doesn't look bad at all. I'm gonna just wire it in, wire it around. Okay, and I'm gonna hold it there. Now I've got these guys here that I'm gonna bring over. And this one here I'm gonna bring over. This one here. And then these guys. You know, I wished, so I'm gonna do it. Why not? These look a little bare to me with just that one bead. So see how I'm just gonna come in. I'm gonna undo it. I'm gonna get my awl in there. See how I can unwrap that? Let me. And I guess I'm always trying to twist in the same direction, though I don't really know the answer to that. In my head, I try and do that, but I don't know if I always actually do it, because sometimes I mess up my right and my left. I don't know if you guys do that too, but I do sometimes. There we go. I've got one bead on there. I like it. And if I want to break, I was going to say if I want to break the outside and put a bead across the top, but I'm not sure about that yet. Let me undo this one. Get the awl underneath that loop, pull it out, straighten it. Let's put another little 8/0 on there. I could have probably gotten 2 8/0s on this one, but let's put one on there. These might look like little buds right on there. And I'm coming in from behind the piece, though I can come in from the front too. I mean, this could be the front as well. I don't know. For right now, I'm just making. I'm not worried too much about the front and the back. There we go. And then this last one, let's poke it back to open up that loop a little bit, get the awl in there, take it out, straighten it, and put another bead on there. There we go. This hoop is really holding up nicely. I was hopeful that it would. But it is a nice work hardened, hoop. So it's really good for the armature. We also have these hoops in a drop form, which would also be nice for this. You could hang the drop upside down, right? You could do that with this too. You could hold it upside down and then you could dangle something from the bottom here and then wire wrap up there if you wanted to connect it to something. So I'm just going to come in and fill in some of that bare wire. If your hands need help pulling it around, use your bent chain nose. Thank you, ladies, so much for throwing those links into the chats. I really appreciate it. You can always find all of this, the instructions, the handout, all of that over on our website at beadshop.com. All the products, this monthly mix for March. We still have some left over, but once our monthly mixes are sold out, they're sold out. But there is a recipe list on what Jordan used, so you can always recreate it. So I'm going to put this down so you guys can kind of see how this is shaping up against my little drawing here. There we go. Okay. So now we just we just make it, right? So maybe I'll start with these bottom ones here, right? So maybe I want a little twist. Let me see. I'm going to start these branches, and I'm going to twist these two together. If my hands don't want to twist, use your plier. There we go. And to make this dimensional, see how I've twisted these two wires? I don't know if you can see that. And I'm going to lay them across like the top there. Then I'm going to take these two, one from that twist I did here and this one that's kind of coming out from there. Maybe I'll put one bead on it before I twist it. I don't know. You can't really go wrong. Just have a little vision in your mind's eye or a little drawing on your paper and just kind of follow it. So here's this one here. So I'm gonna maybe bring some beads across there. It might be time for another bugle bead. That feels like it's a good place for a bugle. Like that. And I'll just keep twisting this one until it's about the length of the bugle. And then I'll twist all three of those together because I feel like they should go together. Just going with my gut here. Just one little twist. There we are. Okay. So let me come back up to our friends up here. I feel like I want a little more stability on this part before I continue on over there. So I'm going to close up this hoop section or this wrap section so it's a little bit tighter. And I'm going to just come in and fill in that part right there. You don't have to. I like the way that some of this looks wrapped. You don't have to wrap the whole thing, but I'm just going to wrap that little space. Okay. There we go. Tighten it down. And again, if you want to tighten that coil, just use your bent chain. I'm going to bring this wire so it fills in that spot. Then I've successfully finished probably with this one wire. We'll see. Never cut anything away though until you're all done, because you never know. I mean, it'd be easy to add some more wire. I could just wrap it around and keep it going, right? But I don't want to take anything away quite yet. Okay. And this. Okay. So tighten that up. There we are. So now I've got these two wires down here and I've kind of made these two wires meet up here. So let's twist them together. That seems like the logical step to me. So sometimes again I like to hold them stationary. And I'm going to kind of make that kind of long. There we go. That one will go over there. So this will kind of be like a tree waving in the spring breeze, maybe. That's a nice visual. And see how I'm holding everything pretty tight? There's some tension here between my left hand and my right hand, so that as I twist, I'm keeping that tension, so it keeps everything really nice and straight like that. But again, don't over twist because you don't want things to break. All right, so I'm just going to come in and put some beads on these. Maybe I'll bring, I want these to go to the front now. What I've kind of ascertained is the front, so I'm going to bring all these wires up and over. So this guy has some stuff on them, so let me kind of spread these apart. I like the looks of these two together, so I'm going to do just a little twist, and then I'm going to add some beads. Keep that tension. Bring it over. And let's put some beads on these branches. Now the rest of this mix has some it has some 8/0 and some 6/0. So I'm going to put quite a few beads on here, I think. I'm going to put on this pink, lighter pink, then this darker pink, then that 6/0, then the dark. I don't know why I want a pattern, but I do. Let's see if that pattern looks weird. I don't know, it might look weird. I'm going to take those two off and maybe put the yellow. And then the bugle. And I'm going to leave it there for a second. This one and this one, I'm also going to twist together. I hope you guys can see that. Sorry, I hope I wasn't drifting out of the shot. Can you see that? How I'm just getting those little fingers of the tool in there? There we go. And I want some beads on this one. I want it to maybe be kind of skinny and mimic that seed bead or that bugle at the bottom. There we go. And I think I locked like that one I did there. I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to bring this strand that's kind of next to the one that's above that bugle. Maybe I'll put one bead on and then I'll wrap it. There's also these little pink, I don't know, light pink or white, I guess they're kind of a white AB matte kind of thing. So I'll put one of those on. Twist. Twist till it's about the length of the bugle. Then I'll take one of those and twist these two together and lock that bugle in. Can you see how the bent chain nose plier is the essential tool in this design? Again, keeping the tension as I twist. This hand is pulling this way. My left hand's pulling to the left. My right hand, as I'm twisting, is kind of pulling to the right. But I'm not making my twists so tight that the wire's going to break. Okay, so let's take a look. I want you to kind of see how that's starting to build up. Okay. And let's just keep going here. I'm going to go a little bit bead heavy because I've got to get all these across. And we could do this like all day long, right? But let's just kind of I need a small one. Kind of partial to that pink and the white, and another 6/0. Maybe another white one. Twist these two together because this is about the same length as that one is. Or the twist comes up, what I meant to say is the twist comes up to about where I put the beads on. That's what I meant by the same length. There we go. And whoops, my beads fell off. Well, it's all right. I will put them back on in just a second. I think I want one more bugle because that will kind of make everything tie in up here at the top. And twist these. And then that should do it for like this top section. But again, I'm not going to cut anything away yet. And just stick through it. I think this piece goes through a few awkward teenage years, right? We all remember what those were like. But just stick with it and it'll start to shape up. Let me put those beads back on that fell off here. I don't quite remember the order, but I think I had this big one and maybe this one and maybe that one, maybe, I don't know. And it does need to come together somewhere. So I'm going to pull these two together and twist them. So that you can see, or so that you can, I don't know, you want to go back and forth between adding beads and twisting, okay, until you kind of fill up the space. So that's a good place for that one to come down. So let me add some beads. I don't know, does this kind of look like it's the branch, more of the branch? Let's see. And you know, it's very little investment in wire, right? Very little. So if it's not to your taste, who cares? Cut it off your armature and try it again. That looks a little awkward. So I'm just going to have that one. And maybe this one. Yeah, that's better. Okay, and then maybe, sorry you guys, I'm trying to keep into frame, so bear with me on this as I go in there. I'm trying to keep my eye on everything. and this one here. Okay, now I can just twist these together, and I've reached the other end of that loop. There we go. And then I'm going to bring this one around. And I can't wait, if you guys jump in and try this, which I hope that you do, please share them with us over on the bead table. Okay, if you're not a member yet, we'd love to have you over there. Now see, I've got this little space here that I don't love, but don't worry, I'm going to fix it. Don't stress. Okay, we're just going to leave it for the moment. And this is going to come down here. I'm going to bring this together. Maybe I'll put one more. Let me see if I put a bugle on, will it nestle correctly or will it not be right? It's so close. I don't know. I don't know if I want it to hang over. So I'm going to put just one. I'm going to put a white one in there. There we go. And I'm going to twist these two together. Sorry, I was a lot of frame there. Sorry. So many screens to watch, you guys. Okay. So now those are twisted and they're kind of across. Now I still have these two down here that I haven't done much with. So, well, I've done, but I need to kind of finish them off. So let me see, these all kind of look like they're good candidates for bugles. So let me see how they look. If it's not right, then I'll take them off. But there's one. Maybe I'll put a bead and then a bugle. On this next one, because as you've seen, it's easy to just toss these beads right off, slide them right off. One here. And one over here. You know, I like how those three look, so let me put on this white one. I haven't put a big one on, and I haven't put any blue, but I'll incorporate the blue somewhere. There we go. So that one's good, so I'm going to bring this one in and get it a little bit higher. Oh, Leslie, thank you so much. Leslie just said she just made her first order. You know, we appreciate every order that comes in from across the miles. Thank you so much. It means that we're doing something right. And I don't know who, one of you guys, I don't know if you're watching here, and I need to check the bead table, but you had complimented, we have a new hire, Diana, who's in our fulfillment department, and she's learning really quickly and she's doing a great job. But somebody commented and put Diana's nice little note that she sent you on your order. So I let Diana know today and she was super tickled about it. So if you left a note for Diana, I'm sorry, I have to check it at the bead table. But she was really excited, so thank you. We really, when you make those mentions or you mention things in the notes and stuff like that, we really do read every single one of those, and we really love to hear from you. Now, if there's a little bit of looseness or a little bit of bare wire, don't let that freak you out. I'm going to deal with that in a second. And see how I don't like, see where this is coming down? I don't this isn't right. This isn't the right place for me. So I will pull it up instead. I like this curve right here. Okay, like this. So so I pulled it up. Let me have a few more beads. This one, oops. Come on. And as you guys know from watching me for all these years, that pink isn't always in our wheelhouse, or in my wheelhouse rather, but Karen loves pink, Jordan loves pink, and I think it's kind of fun that we've kind of literally branched out a little bit, and they're forcing me to work with colors that I might not always gravitate towards. So I'm trying to take my own piece of advice and say not to worry about it and just, you know, just kind of jump in and do it, right? So see where I'm ending this? I want you guys to see this. So this came around, this is my last little piece that I pulled up. I put 2 beads on top, and I can see that there's like a little space that's right there. That's where I'm going to come in and wrap this around. Okay, so that's in there, that's tight. So I'm going to put all of these wires over to the side, and I'm going to think about my design. Okay, so there's my little tree, my little curve and stuff that I've got there. I'm feeling like, yeah, I kind of want to push that up. I might want to curve that around a little bit. I didn't want to make the trunk too thick because I didn't want it to look, I don't know, too heavy or whatever. So I don't know, I might put beads or something here, but I've got all of this wire on this end that I can do something with. Now, this is where I'm faced with some design choices, okay? I can just wrap all of these guys around and cut them off. But what I can also do is I can take these tails and I can turn them back, and I can come across from the left to the right, which is what I think I'm going to do actually, because I want to fill in a few more spaces, and I'm going to start with the bottom. Okay, and so I'm going to fill in, and I want 2 pieces because I want to twist them. So I've got 1 nice and tight there, and 2 nice and tight here. Okay, pull all of that other wire out of the way and bring these 2 around. Okay. There's that. Okay. Now I've twisted them, and I'll just bend them back. I think maybe I'll go through maybe one more time to bring that twist. There we go. And I'm going to twist them again. I wanted just a little bulk there, I think, is what that move was all about. I don't know, can you see that? Okay. And that gives me a little more dimension on the front. And I think I'm going to curve this back around. Let me get my plier in there so I can make that twist nice and even. There we go. And if I feel, so this will just kind of come around. Maybe it'll slip through. Maybe it needs one 6/0, and that 6/0, the hole is so big I can get both wires on there, in there. And look at that, it adds a little bit of dimension to that. I'm going to anchor it down before I put that one in, so I'm going to put both of these wires through. Pull them up. There we go. Now it's time for that 6/0. That wire to stay where I put it. Straighten it out if it's a little wonky. There we go. And that 6/0 wants to live just there. And it sticks up just slightly, gives everything just a slight bit of dimension. Yeah, that looks great. Now let me twist this, and if I feel like the trunk was a little thin, I can't decide if I feel like it looks thin or not, but I can add this twist to it, I think. Twisting, keeping the tension. Twist kind of a nice long portion. Moving the pliers down. See that, how I'm doing that? So the twist starts to take up. The tension is what keeps this twist even. Sorry, I was drifting. But see, look at, that's a pretty even twist that I've made. You can see that. Now let me push this 6/0 back where it belongs there. And I'm going to wrap this twist around the trunk, I think. And it should, maybe it doesn't want to stay where I put it, so I'm going to have to wrap it a little bit tighter. There we go. I'm just going to poke this in. Around the tree trunk, and see that? You can't even tell that that wire was not there at the beginning. And I'm going to anchor it. Maybe I'll go from behind. No, I'll go from the front, because I want it to kind of have that dimension front and back. So I'm going to bring this around, and there you have it. I've added another. I can untwist this now if I want to, because that's all of the twisted part I needed. Straighten them out. Have one of these go up. Okay, like so. And this one, and I'm going to fill in that space. There we go. And now I think I can safely, and see, I think that thickening helped it a little bit. I like the way that looks a little bit better. Okay. And I'm going to clip. And you can use any gauge. Well, not any gauge. I'm so lying to you. Not any gauge. But I could use, I'm using 26 gauge here. And see how I'm pulling that around? I like 26 for the tree because it's malleable enough that I can really work it and not have it be too thin. But you could pop down to 28 gauge if you wanted. Or you could go, especially if this piece was a little bit bigger, you could go up to 24 gauge. I want to bring this around the back, poke it up to the front, like so. Straighten them out. And twist them. And I think I'll do that same thing. I'm going to bring them around the back. You know, across the other side. There we go. Let's see what this looks like. So here, there we go. So see how you can kind of fill it in? I think it's time for another 6/0 right there. Don't you agree? Even if you don't agree, I'm going to throw one in. A couple more twists so I get, yeah, because I want that 6/0 to sit like right there. This 6/0 is a little off kilter, so there we go. I'm going to put it right, maybe one more twist. Make sure you guys can see. I'm sorry if I'm moving around too much. Let's get that, and I'm going to put that 6 on, maybe I'll just put one blue one. I haven't put any blue. Let's see what the blue, oh yeah, look at how charming that blue one is. So I'm going to put it right there. And I'm just going to bring both of these right here. It is kind of windswept, isn't it? This whole, maybe that's what I should call it. This sample is windswept, because I don't think it has a name. There we go. I wanted that bead to sit up here a little bit. Let me see if I can tell it where to go. There we go. And to keep it in place, look at here. I'm going to use that tail. See how I've got those two wires there that aren't really twisted or anything, and that 6/0 has such a big hole that I'm just going to come around. Look at, and wrap this wire in a coil around, if I can get it. There we go. Time for straightening. There we go. Are you guys concentrating as much as I am on this piece? There we go. And so see how those little coils, I want to do it maybe twice more times. Twice more. Come on. If you don't have bent chain nose pliers, kids, get familiar. There we go. They really help. And I'm going to clip that away. That one's done. And this one, I'll do maybe 2 more wraps just around the outside of the armature here. 1 and 2, and clip. Be careful, that one I didn't cover when I clipped, so you really want to make sure not to get too cavalier with this wire. All right. There we go. And I see if you're looking for the drop beads, we carry drop beads here at Beadshop. We carry the check drops, which are really nice, so you could try those out for sure. You can go right to our website, beadshop.com, and find those guys. There's a whole bunch of really fun check glass that you could use in these. This section up top I feel is looking a little awkward. It's not my favorite. So I'm gonna come in and just place it where I want it to go. There we go. That's a little bit better. And if I want a few more beads, I can put them there. But I think I'm going to start to just wrap these off so we can, I want to show you what I'm going to do with those other drops. I know that sometimes Free Tip Friday, you never know where it's going to go, so thanks for hanging in there with me. Oh, and thanks, Gita, for putting in the drops link. You could certainly put drops in this if you wanted. Whatever works for you. See how I'm wrapping those two at the same time? Putting that in. Putting those in there. There we go. And I'm just gonna clip those away. Okay, and as I clip, see on the back here, it's kind of hard for you to see, but there's a little bit of a burr. So I'm using my bent chain to kind of burnish those around. There we go. Now I've got this hole kind of in the center right here, but I'm actually okay with it because what I can do, I have these leaves. I could put the leaf, though it kind of covers it up. I don't know if I love it there. And I was also, and I'm going to kind of push this up a little bit so it's a little tighter. I could put this drop, how I talked about putting that drop in there, but I don't love that either. I feel it looks a little awkward. Okay. So I'm gonna just, I think I kind of like the way that this is looking. So I'm just gonna kind of take, maybe I feel, I don't know, I'm gonna wrap this around, contemplate it for a second. Can you guys see that? I'm going to just use this wire to go in and across, in and up, right? And this one here, maybe once more. There we go. Clip, making sure that little end piece doesn't hit you in the head, and burnish that around. Something Michelle just put in the comments was she uses an old crimping plier for this burnishing on curved surfaces, which is also a great idea. Tighten this up a little bit, bring all of these together. Now I have all of these guys, and you know, I'm going to twist them all together because I feel like I want one branch coming across. I don't know. So I'm gonna make it happen. And see if this, yeah. And since that 6/0 is so big, I wonder if I can get these all over that twist. Yeah, there you go. See that it needed just something. And I feel like that was it. And this will have a little bit of movement to it, but that's okay. I'm just going to keep twisting this just a little bit more. So it twists. Am I untwisting it? Yeah, I was untwisting it. Can't tell whether I'm coming or going on this. Now remember, these were 3 across. See how this third leg is twisting inside, you know, kind of twisting itself and just ending itself right there. Maybe I want 2 of these blue. I don't know. Dare I put in a third one? Might be too linear that way. So let me poke one there. And let me just put all of these through so this stays. And then let me see if I can put that second one in somewhere. Doing this with wire that's already been twisted is playing with fire just a little bit, but because it's a little stiffer, it's getting a little work hardened. That little piece of wire now is sticking out, so I'm going to clip it. There we go. So that has a place to nestle. Now see how I brought it across the side? I'll twist it again and I'll put that one final 6/0. Yeah, you could definitely, Jackie's saying you could put one of those flat pearls so it looks like a moon. That'd be awesome. We have some moon buttons. Whoops, sorry, I'm out of frame. Some moon buttons, which is great. We have made these formerly with the chips, right? So see that, again, keeping that tension so it's nice and tight. And I'm going to pull this back around and I can put that final 6/0 like right there. I think it wants to sit there, and I want to continue to twist. Maybe it's enough twisting. I'll just bring these around the edge. There we go. Come on now. And then I'll push that up, and this one, this last one, I'll bring it round. And grab it. And bring it around. I have just enough to burnish that under. Tighten it up. And that little end, I'm going to clip off. Burnish that down. There we go. Ta-da! That's not too bad, if I do say so myself. Not bad. So let me get it a little tighter so you guys can see it. Not bad for an hour ago, not having an idea in mind about this design at all. But I think it's kind of cool. So now what we can do, if we were attaching this to chain, okay? So I'm going to take away my little template, and I've got these other leaves and things here, okay? And so let's say that I don't know, just depending on if you wanted to put the clasp in the front or wherever you wanted to attach this. But let me get some jump rings here. Let's see what I've got. I have to reach over here to grab them. I like to keep our jump rings in our little storage bin here. So I'm gonna get one ring, that's the 6mm that I'll attach it with. And I still have all these leaves. So, and I grabbed the head pins. So I feel like a little cluster is the way to go with these. I don't know about you guys, but that's how I feel. So let me just do this real quick. I should have 2 pink leaves. Where did the other pink leaf go? And as you can see, you guys, I didn't use that much of the monthly mix. You could make like 20 of these trees of life with this monthly mix, but I think it's a fun springtime celebration. Whereas, whoops, it's such a springtime celebration that I just dropped them all over the desk. Perfect, Richburg, just perfect. I need to put the lid, there we go, because as you guys know, a bead's natural habitat is the floor. Well, I can't find the other. I had to begin with 3 leaves, but I don't know where the third one went. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to cluster these anyway. So I'll get my 26 gauge, and I like this chrysoprase brio. Okay. And the chrysoprase brio is a very kind of spring green. I just love chrysoprase. I don't know if you guys love it as much as I do, but I do. And I'm going to do this at speed because you've seen me wire wrap briolets before. Whoops, I'm dropping things like it's crazy. Sorry, I just dropped the pliers, but at least I grabbed the one I needed. I'm going to tighten this up. And we have a skill builder on this very thing. So I'm going to just do this real quick, but you can see that's 26 gauge. You want to make sure that your wire is thin enough so the briolet has some movement for it so it doesn't crack the briolet. The briolets that we carry are super high quality. They're not inexpensive by any means, but you will be delighted with the quality of the briolet that you get. So the hole is nice and even. And they're just gem quality. They're just beautiful. Notice how I brought it up. I bent it over with the 2 wires, up and over with those 2 wires, and then wrapped with those 2 wires too. I can intentionally kind of do a messy wrap and go back up the top of this to make it make that a little bit more heavy duty up there if I like the look of that. And I do. I like a little bit of extra wire. Since this is so wire heavy, I think it works. And then I'll just come in and tamp those little guys down. So there's one. Okay. And let me put on the end of this the end of this leaf, the bottom of the leaf. We didn't have too much of that yellow, so I want to put a little yellow in there. So I'll put that yellow size 8 seed bead. I like the leaves pointing down. Maybe, I guess I do. So I'll wire, so maybe instead of at the bottom, I want the leaf to taper. And I'll put that yellow one over the top of it. There we go. Bend at a right angle. Up and over. Down and under. You can check out our skill builders for our wire wrapping. Making a wire wrap loop. Sorry, I was out of frame for making these wire wrap loops. I'll do it again with the white leaf. I need a director in here to tell me when I'm out of frame. So I appreciate it when you guys give me those little nudges if I glance it on the chat. I appreciate it. So there's that one. And let's do one more, shall we? Look at this. This is coming out better than I thought it was going to. Am I being too honest? Is that too transparent? Sometimes you just have to let the the muse take you, right? So windswept really worked for me today. Yeah, we have such nice briolettes. Pam, you're saying that you just saw the Larimar. I love Larimar too. That was a fairly new one that we've added. We also have them in the moonstone. We have them in peach moonstone. We have them in, like, I think it's a black or chocolate moonstone, I think is what we've called it. I can't remember, but they're just super delicious. My favorite briolette is probably the London Blue Topaz. I don't know, I love that blue color. But then I look at the green amethyst and I go, oh, no, that's my favorite. And then I see the chrysoprase and I go, no, that's my favorite. So I just can't, I don't know. I love them all. There we go, and clip away this extra. Okay? And push it in. Okay. There we go. I'm almost done here, you guys. Thanks for hanging in there. So now I'm going to get my jump rings and connect them and make a little clustery cluster. And I have a 6mm to attach the, at least I did have a 6mm. There it is. So, let me think this out for a second. I just want to see. Now, I kind of like having the clasp in the front, so I'm going to see what that looks like. Nope, I want a 4mm, not a 6mm, to attach the clasp. So I'm thinking this out. This may not work, but I'm going to go for it. Janice is saying the copper turquoise briolette, that's also beautiful. They're all good. I'm going to come up here and, you know, just because I like visually the way it looks, I'm going to go ahead. I want this to taper a little bit, so I'm going to get rid of one link here. These are soldered, so I have to clip it, open it. But see, I want to connect it to that smaller ring because I want a little bit of a taper next to the clasp. I think it has a little bit of a more elegant look to it. So there's that. That comes in. See how I'm holding this jump ring with my 2 pliers, my bent and my regular chain nose, and I get it just right in there and close it off. So see how much nicer I think the tapering of that ring looks. So it didn't go right into that big ring. No, you can't because it's not on the thing. There we go. Okay. So let me add over here those guys. Okay. Let's see what they look like. And I'm going to add them with jump rings. I could have wire wrapped them directly to that link, but I think it's better to have a little more movement here. And I'm going to try and attach these to the bottom of the chain. See that? Not that side, but I want to do them all on one side. So I'm going to put this on the bottom of that link there and close it. And I think I'll put the brio. Maybe I'll put the brio next to it and that leaf on that small ring. Okay. Because I want them to be bunched, but I don't want them to be as tight, you know, super tight. And also I want this loop to be in the right position. So this loop needs to actually be facing me, or else the briolette won't be sitting correctly. Wendy has a question over on the YouTube feed. Kate, do I ever solder my jump rings? I do, but not in this project. Okay, this would not hold up under the torch, which is why I am using such heavy gauge rings. These are a 5mm 18 gauge. So the diameter of these rings is small enough that when using the 18 gauge, it's super sturdy. These rings are also cut perfectly flush at the ends. Maybe I will put it in this last link. They're cut perfectly flush at the ends, so they close perfectly, you know, nice and cleanly. And the 18 gauge wire really is heavy enough, so it's a nice tight jump. It's a nice heavy jump ring. See, when I close them though, it's hard for you guys to see, but I want to make sure that I don't see any air in between, because a jump ring is either open or it's closed, okay? And this is definitely closed. I can't see any air in there. There we go. I like how that cluster looks. Now, if I were bringing this around as a necklace, and I'm just going to measure it around me here real quick, like, and I'll measure this length just so you have an idea of how much chain I'm using. Sorry, I hit the camera. And then I put my finger in front of the camera. Nicely done. This length, it's about 20 inches or so of chain. 18 would be fine if you got 2 feet of chain. That gives you 24 inches. That gives you plenty to play around with. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to taper it. I'm going to cut that big link away. And I'm going to attach a 6mm ring there, because that's what the clasp is going to go into. This chain is called Smooth Sailing, but you can use any art chains. This wrap link that I showed at the beginning of the show, this would also work nicely as well. Rustico would be a great choice for this. And then I'm going to dangle this. I'm going to use another 6mm. Get a little wider here. There we go. And I think I'm going to put it on this one. Then I'll lay it out so you guys can see it. Now, if you don't like the way the clasp looks in the front, that's okay. You don't have to use it in the front. You could, you know, do all of this business in the back too. But let's see if this were hanging. I love how these are kind of sweeping up top like that. I think it's pretty good. If you ask me, that's not too bad. Hooray, I pulled that one off. Now, you could also use, we have some other little leaves. I think they're called falling. I don't know, which would look kind of cool. This is that hand of hibiscus that I showed on the lantern bead. I could even, if I wanted, this may be smaller, but this hand of hibiscus might look kind of cool on here too, right? Or this is our willow leaf charm that I used on that one. Might be a little bit big, but falling is the one that's a little bit smaller. That actually doesn't look too bad. If you like to layer, though, I'm a big fan of layering. So I think that's pretty cool, actually, if I do say so myself. So here's the orig, the one that Moonscapes, the one that I did there. So that's not too bad. All right, kids, let me kind of put this back in its original so you can kind of see that when you put it together, so I don't lose the components of all this. But this would look great in this big clasp too. You could use that jumbo swivel if you like that look. Or, you know, make yourself a couple of these necklaces, kind of all in the same colorway. This was from, I don't remember which monthly mix this was from, but it was from one of them. Maybe the one in November. Maybe I used. But if I do say, let me arrange these kind of in a pretty manner here. You kind of see all that. Let me widen it up a bit. I can't widen it up a bit, so let me move these down. There we go. That's better. So that's it, kids. It's not bad, I think. It was fun. Creating this little tree was a pretty fun exercise. And you see, it didn't take that long. I mean, I did it all in real time, so thanks for hanging in there for it. You can see over here, I'll show you, my beads all fell out. Right, I had that little accident over there. But here's the list that you guys can see all over on beadshop.com. And it features that Sakura Skies March 2020 monthly mix designed by Jordan. And then we use the Parawire bare copper and 26 gauge, the round hoops that I use for the armature. You could you know, make your own armature like I did with 18 gauge or 16 gauge wire. The smooth sailing chain in antique copper, heart leaf in the milky pink glow and milky white, chrysoprase briolette. I use the small swivel in antique copper, and then I use some head pins in antique copper. And then I use some jump rings, both the 4mm and the 6mm, I think. Okay, is what I did. And I'm going to click back over here to this screen that shows you that Beadshop.com is celebrating National Craft Month all month long. And we have a great promo going on this month. Craft 10 for 10% off with no minimum. Craft 15 for 15% off, $50 or more. And the big prize, Craft 20. If you spend $100, throw Craft 20 in your coupon code space on the website, and it will knock 20% off of your order. We always appreciate when you go to beadshop.com and you can get all the information for the project and the products from this broadcast. So you can sign up for our newsletter for all the latest discounts, giveaways, and new products. And you guys, sign up, because National Craft Month, we are celebrating all month long, and we've got some great things up our sleeves for you there. So this weekend, I hope you have a safe and fun and creative weekend. Next week, I have a fun project all cooked up for you guys. The end of the week on Friday, Brittany is going to be here, and she has one project, 3 samples that she's going to share with you that you guys are going to love. And then on Wednesday, I have a fun little project for you guys as well. So you can find me every Wednesday and Friday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time right here on our YouTube channel, beadshop.com, or our Facebook page, also, coincidentally, beadshop.com. Give us a follow, give us some shares, give us some likes. We really, really appreciate your business that keeps our small business afloat. So, happy weekend, everyone. Check us out at Beadshop, and I will see you guys on Wednesday for Beadshop Live. And don't forget, Sunday, if you're in the U.S., turn your clocks forward. Daylight savings time is coming. The light is returning. All right, you guys, we made it. I'll see you on Wednesday.